Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Z-Man, Zombies, Movies, and More. I'm your host, Mike Schilling, and tonight we're going to do this episode a little bit different. Since I got such a late start in seeing the episode, we're not going to do it, on video. We're going to just do a podcast style. But all the same, here we are, Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 11, The Blind Leading the Blind. So we start off the episode with Gabriel. He's seriously ill, as we knew from earlier in the season, and he's going blind now. So him and the Dr. Carson from Hilltop are on the move, on the run, and they found this off-site location where they're hoping to hold up for a few and kind of get their bearings and figure out what's going on. So there's some interesting concepts going on through this episode of, faith. And Carson, I think, clearly is not a believer in God, but yet Gabriel still maintains his faith even during the worst of times. So amazingly enough, the man, I guess, who was living in that remote outpost had like a small pharmacy, I guess, in his possession, and some of them happen to be antibiotics that can start to treat Gabriel and his sickness. It doesn't mean that necessarily it's going to cure his blindness, but it looked like it was getting a little bit better, for that matter, after he started taking them. Some might actually say that the Lord moves in mysterious ways, or other skeptics might just say it's just plain luck, which it could be, but you take that as you will, and on your style of faith. But then, we have this piggy bank that he was kind of rattling earlier in the episode when they first got into this outpost. And, later on, after he gets the antibiotics and they're getting ready to leave, he knocks it over and it reveals a set of keys and a map. So, now you're like, okay, can two lucky events really happen? And how many more lucky events can keep happening as this moves on? And so on the way to the vehicle, I guess their luck starts to run out as Carson springs a bear trap. And he almost gets mangled by like 3 or 4 zombies. But they were very cool looking zombies. They had like this fungi kind of growing out of their bodies and their faces. The makeup department really put in the effort on this one. So that was great. Gabriel manages, so after Carson shoots, I think 2 or 3 of them, Gabriel, he tries his best to aim for the one that's, got Carson on the ground, about to bite the hell out of him. And Gabriel he kind of closes his eyes and he takes one last look and puts off a Hail Mary shot, and it actually kills the zombie. So here we go. The 3rd time luck has, hit for these 2, and they've gotten out of harm's way. But that would be their last set of luck. Finally, it fully runs out as the saviors catch them just as they're getting ready to drive off in the Jeep. I think even Carson's starting to believe that, man, maybe God does exist, what are the chances of all these things going right? And so the saviors get them back to a pickup truck, and as, Gabriel kind of looks over to him, and he makes a point to say that, he's still leading the way. And Carson, I guess, realizing that if he does get back to Negan, he'll probably either be brutally killed or just put back to the slave labor of taking care of his crazy savior guys, he decides to go for the weapon. And he tells Gabriel, no, I think I see the way. And he grabs for the savior's weapon, and one of the other saviors just puts a bullet right into his chest, and he's done. And you can just see Gabriel is just torn apart by this. How could you come this far just to be, just to have the whole thing shattered right before your eyes, just like that? Now, what Negan's going to do to his crew for killing off that doctor, I don't know. But clearly, if you're a doctor in The Walking Dead, your days are always numbered because you're always on the chopping block. It's just crazy. But yeah, so Carson is gone. Obviously, his brother's been gone. Negan threw his ass into that fire forge back a little ways. So that's what was going on there. Of course, Negan was wondering how those 2 got away. So there's a scene where he's kind of interrogating Eugene a little bit. But, Eugene's usually good at kind of dodging Negan's talk, with his cryptic craziness. And basically Negan he tells Eugene that he's going to be taking on a new position, leading a basically bullet manufacturing shop. And so he's going to be in charge of resupplying their ammunition. And of course, Eugene does not want to do this because he knows where these bullets are going to be going. It's going to be soon killing off, his once friends and just other innocent people, more than likely. But all the same, Eugene's about survival, and he's going to do it, of course. So he's moving on to that. So we'll kind of talk back to that piece in a little bit. And another big piece of this episode, of course, our Alexandria survivors are on their way to Hilltop. And Daryl, Rosita, and Tara are leading the way, along with Dwight kind of in the background. So Tara, of course, is still hell-bent on killing Dwight. She doesn't trust him one bit. We wonder how much, will Dwight have to do or sacrifice to finally show his loyalty to this crew. Um, Dwight even made a comment that he's chosen his side, and he knows that how his story is probably going to end, basically insinuating that he knows that his life will be forfeit and he's going to be killed. Tara gets 10 bits of stupid on this one and decides to take Dwight off to take out some nearby zombies, I guess, to protect the Alexandrians while they're waiting as they're starting to head through this swamp area, which just seems like a terrible idea, by the way. I mean, zombies inside of a swamp, they could be at the bottom. They don't need to breathe. They could just kind of reach over and grab you while you're going through, but they managed to make it through. But anyways, as Tara takes Dwight off, which is just infuriating me now because you know what she's up to, right? She gets ready to basically put one right into his face, and he manages to dodge it just last second. And as they run off, they get almost seen by 4 or 5 saviors, because they were looking for the escapees from Alexandria. And basically Dwight kind of runs out and reveals himself and basically throws their scent off of the Alexandrians' tracks, which was awesome. Good job for Dwight. I think we see where Dwight's camp has been chosen. And oh man, when Tara gets back to the others, Daryl is pissed at Tara for trying to kill Dwight, and not just trying to kill him, but basically letting him get away, not knowing, where does Dwight truly stand, because I guess they truly don't know. It could be a number of things. But I think I'm with Daryl with this one. The way he was yelling at Tara, I was fully on board. She was about 2 steps from just getting beat down, pretty much, for that just stupidness. But either way, the Alexandrians do reach Hilltop with minimal losses, and they're reunited with Carol, Maggie, Enid, and the others, which a little bit of emotional scene there, as basically they're just now finding out, as we're now, 3 episodes in to this back half of the season, that Carl is no longer there. And Enid's totally distraught, so it's what we figured we'd see. So meanwhile, while they were on Hilltop, before the survivors did get there, Maggie she's rolling with an iron fist, no doubt. They're in some deep mess with their rations being very low. They have, I think, less than 1 to 2 weeks worth of food, and that's if they don't include their captives in this formula. So this is the problem when trying to maintain a large community. I'd be about trying to save others, but when you have so many people and they depend on you, you got to keep feeding these people, and you keep searching the areas, and sooner or later, all these areas are going to go dry, whether it's your people finding it, or other rival colonies, or just random people just making their way through. You're going to run out of food unless you have a continuous, steady source of crops coming in, which that in itself is still really, really hard. How do you survive the winter? So I do wish they would show more winter-type scenes with The Walking Dead. I know we only got a piece of it, I think, around, I don't know, it was the end of season 2 or around mid-season. No, I think it was mid-season 2. It was actually showing the cold weather, how some time had lapsed by. I really wish they'd go back to that, but I know it's hard for them to film in the winter. We've tried to do it ourselves, and it sucks. So, by the end of the episode, though, Maggie starts to letting 2 saviors out at a time for work detail, exercise, so forth. A step in the right direction, probably, when you talk about humane rights for these saviors. When Rick finally makes his way back to Hilltop at the very, very end, all the power players are now at Hilltop, and it looks like they're going to need all the help they can get to get through this. Negan is ready for blood. So much that he tells his crew that his zombie wall needs additions or whatever. So I guess Eugene had this idea of trying to, infect their weapons with the crap from the zombies' bodies or whatever, and then hopefully that'll infect their people and maybe spread disease and so forth. I don't even know, but it looks like there's some nastiness really coming. Negan is truly sadistic. We know this, but it just proves it once again. He's not a good guy, but he wants revenge, and he's definitely going to try and get it. We also had some scenes with Morgan and Henry. He's hell-bent on trying to find the killer of his brother. And, Henry's just a little boy. He's the one who killed Gavin with the spear last episode. And, Morgan ends up lying to Henry at the very end of the episode and tells him that Gavin, the savior Gavin, was actually the one who killed his brother, so that he should, find some peace in that. And when normally it was, or we know it was Jared, the long-haired savior that's been in the pen at Hilltop. So he's the loudmouth one, if you will. So, obviously Jared's time is numbered, But I believe it was a good call that Carolyn and Morgan kept that from Henry. He's just too young to process all that. The same thing almost happened to Carl, when he was younger, but luckily he had his dad to help him through a lot of those emotions after losing his mom, Lori. Well, he killed her. And then, killing that young boy in the woods when Herschel was there, even after he had disarmed himself. We think these children can handle these concepts, but I know for a fact they absolutely cannot. It's just too much for their minds to process. So, hopefully Henry does not start heading down the way that like Lizzie kind of did. So, we'll have to see where that goes. So I just want to mention that, the fungi walkers that were at Carson and Gabriel's site were completely awesome. And then once again, the Walking Dead upping their ante and still grossing us out to an extent with those fungi walkers. Just an amazing job as always. So overall, I wanted to say I give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. It had some really cool things going on and some good drama as usual. The special effects and zombies, I gave a rating of 8.5 out of 10. The creativity just never stops on this show. A fabulous job. The swamp walkers were also fabulous. The fungi walkers, again, were amazing. So we hope to keep seeing more of this as we keep progressing through this universe and how these zombie walkers keep deteriorating over time. So the next scenes from The Walking Dead did look really intense. It looks like Rick runs Negan off from his pack of vehicles, the convoy. And it shows Simon kind of talking to Dwight at that time, and they're kind of like, oh shit, that was Negan's car. And then this awesome little sinister smirk at the end of the sneak peek off of Simon's face. It was priceless. I totally see where this is going. Simon is ready to take over for sure. So very cool things coming along the way. I'm ready to see Rick whoop a little Negan butt coming up here soon. So again, hopefully you didn't mind the podcast style this time around. We just didn't have the time to do a full video, but hope you enjoyed some of the other content I showed during this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we'll have some more content out to you in a few days or some other things. So we'll see you guys soon.